Customer came in for two concerns. This is a 2012 Escape XLT 3.0 liter 24 valve Duratec. They said they lost power steering at one time, but then shut the vehicle off, turned it back on, and never happened again. They also said they have an excessive amount of oil coming from the bottom of the vehicle, and I have confirmed the bottom of the vehicle is full of oil. It's all the way up the front cover, fresh oil coming out of it. So the oil pan and the front cover need to be resealed. And it goes up, fresh oil coming out of it. Goes all the way up to the front cover right in there. So this has a gasket in this. This is not. The upper part right here is sealed with silicone, the upper part of the pan, but the lower part is a gasket. So it actually has a new rubber gasket for the front cover and the rear, or the oil pan itself. I seem to be getting the oil leaks today, and I hate to do this to them, but you know, we get a little bit of moisture coming from here. It's not quite seeping yet, but it is starting to get a little bit of moisture around this seal. That's kind of normal. Depends on how the vehicle's been being run. That looks old. No other leaks down here that I see, but it's going to be an expensive job to reseal this motor, so do the valve cover gaskets while you're there, front cover gaskets while you're there, oil pan gaskets while you're there, fresh oil change. So what you're looking at with this is TA30, but they've upgraded that to TA357 now. They don't want you using TA30 anymore. I think it's like 6 quarts of 520 or something like that. I gotta look again. And probably it's like probably a 910 or a 500 filter on this. I gotta look. There's your inner gasket for the front cover. Then there's your side pieces. And then you got an oil pan gasket as well that's not listed on here. If anything else needs to be replaced, you know. The water pump on these are in this area down here on the driver's side. They're not on the passenger side, so they're easier to get to. Just remove the hoses, the air inlet. You want to give yourself a little bit more room. The battery tray, so there won't be a water pump involved here. While you're in there, you could go ahead and do timing chains and guides as well while the front cover's off, but typically the customer just wants things replaced, especially with this only having 57,000 miles on this. They're just going to do the front cover and oil pan, oil filter, and that's pretty much it. So I'll have some news back for you tomorrow on what this is going to actually run. Let me give you a labor estimate right now. You're looking at about 7.5 to 8.5 hours, depending on what type of cleaning is involved and additional stuff that needs to be done. But right at about 7.5 hours is what the customer pay is for this. Just to give you some insight on what warranty used to pay for this when these vehicles were under warranty, would be like 5.8 hours. So they always skate under the radar with about 1.5 hours to 2 hours plus of what the actual time is to take to do this. But 7.5 to 8.5 hour job on this. Let's see where we go with this. And there's actually I think there's a campaign on this ePass, the electronic power steering assist. Let's see real quick, because all this is, the ePass is not down low. If you look down low on this, you'll see just a regular mechanical power steering assembly. It's actually all in the column on this inside the vehicle. So it wasn't actually a campaign on the electronic power steering assist. What ends up happening is there's an angle sensor plate that goes underneath the steering column upper half. You got to pull the whole entire upper half off, and there's this special plate that has to sit down in there a certain way and be timed with a tool before you put everything back together. And I've heard horror stories of guys saying you have to do the job 2 and 3 times, and you have to keep replacing the sensor over and over again. Sometimes they're not set right from the factory. I don't know, something about, even in the instruction manual, it says if you don't get it right the first time and you go pull a locking tool and stuff out, and you don't see everything aligned before you slide the upper half of the steering column together, take the sensor out, throw it away, and do it again. Anyway, this is an update. The customer did approve all the work, and tomorrow I will be starting on the work. Tomorrow meaning when you see this video, that's the day that I will actually be starting the work. It's just going to be delayed one day when you see the final product. You'll be blessed. I hope you like this new way of doing this scheduled type video instead of just random. I'm doing one in the morning and one in the evening, and I have it scheduled to be released at like 6 or 6:30 in the morning, and then in the evening 5 or 5:30 in the evening. If you'd like to see any of the times changed on when I release these, let me know and I'll release them at a more convenient time if there's enough supply and demand for it, right? Well, the supply is there, but the demand for it. But if everything's going well right now and you like the way the videos are being released, let me know. They're a day behind, but it seems to keep things more organized and people know what to expect. It's just not all over the place. I'm trying to be more organized on the channel. Y'all be blessed.